Entitled Karen, my son sexually harassed you? Well, you're supposed to let him. How dare you defend yourself? This happened when I was 15. A boy in my neighborhood would often catcall me and try to grab me. He was around my age. I had told him to leave me alone. I had complained to his parents, but to no avail. When I told my parents about it, they just told me to ignore him. One day, when I was walking home from school, he caught up with me. As usual, he made some filthy comments about my body, things he would do to me, etc. I walked faster in an attempt to lose him. I just wanted to get home. But he grabbed my arm and lifted up my skirt, exposing my underwear. I freaking lost it. I began punching and kicking him with all my strength and with all the rage that had been building up inside me. I didn't stop until someone pulled me off of him. It was his mother. She screamed at me for hurting her little boy and told me she would be speaking to my parents. I said fine and walked home. I knew it would get ugly that evening, but his blood on my knuckles made me feel a little better. That evening when my parents got home, Karen was already waiting beside our front door. Apparently, she had been messaging my parents all day, telling them about the beating. She berated them again in person. The boys will be boys defense was used. Here's the fun part. My parents actually apologized to her and promised her they would discipline me. When she left, I told them my side of the story, but my dad just repeated what he had said earlier, that I should have ignored him. And, icing on the cake, he told me if I didn't want to draw the attention of boys, I should lengthen my skirts. Never mind the fact that I had pretty much been assaulted. My mom told me to grow up and be more ladylike, instead of getting into fights with boys. My two brothers who are younger than me were much more sympathetic. My 13-year-old brother said he'd get his friends to gang up on him if he ever came near me. Thankfully, it never came to that. The coward never harassed me again. I guess getting beaten up by a girl can really kill a misogynist's confidence. Edit, I want to thank all of you for your supportive and thoughtful comments. Except that one idiot who commented that catcalling was no big deal. And let me just clarify that this happened 23 years ago when I was 15. Before getting into next story, please like the video and subscribe the channel. Entitled Karen almost gonna live herself and her kid. This isn't my story. My dad is friends with a train engineer, and he would always be super nice to me and my family, and he told us this insane crazy story. Info you will need to know. So this story is about a train engineer, and as everyone knows, trains can't stop on a dime. But the important info you will need to know is about wheel slips. Sometimes trains can have a failed start or stop and slide across the track because the wheels lose traction. If a train goes into a wheel slip while stopping, it's extremely difficult to stop. Wheel slips are usually caused by weight distribution or not being able to gain traction. If a train has too much weight, it can go into a wheel slip easily, so the people who load the train need to make sure that it's just the right amount of weight distribution. Onto the story. So let's call my dad's friend Tom. Tom was on his normal route, and in the conductor's seat is someone we will call Bill. Tom was going around 70 miles per hour and was about to come up on a crossing. In the distance you could see a car on the crossing. He thought that the arms hadn't gone down yet, and cars were still crossing, as it was still a ways away. As he got closer, he noticed a car was parked on the crossing and a woman and a kid were standing beside it on the tracks holding up a sign that Tom couldn't read. But he immediately knew this was bad. He slammed on the emergency brakes and blew the horn as loud as he could to try to warn the woman. As he got closer and closer, she wouldn't budge, but then the train went into an unexpected wheel slip. I'll explain why after. And now they were sliding at a high velocity and heading straight towards the mom and presumably her son. Bill and Tom were panicking, letting trains nearby and know what was going on. People who saw the occasion were yelling at the woman and her kid. And as they were approaching her, people realized she wasn't going to budge due to what her sign stated. People ran and came and pushed her out of the way. Then a few moments later, Tom and Bill slammed into the car, and since they were in a wheel lip, they couldn't slow down. Luckily, after a bit, Bill and Tom managed to gain traction again and stopped 2.5 miles later. Bill and Tom were scared to death about the mom and the kid, and despite their protocol, they jumped out of the engine and ran to see if she and her kid were okay. Luckily, they knew they would be there because the police would need to ask questions. After apparently, according to Tom, what seemed like forever, they finally made it back to the crossing. They found the mom and the kid, and she wasn't there because she was stuck. She was protesting. The entitled mom proceeded to have a conversation like this. Entitled mother, finally. Now I want you to meet my son. He wants a ride on your train. Tom, what? Entitled kid, I want to be a train driver. Can I go pull the horn? Tom, sorry kid, no, we can't allow that. Entitled mother, let him do it. He's just curious. Besides, you owe us one since you attempted to kill us. Tom, why's that? Before entitled mother could proceed to yell at Tom, Bill found the sign and told Tom to read what it said. The sign stated, "Stop crashing into cars because you are too lazy to stop and enjoy the fun of demolition. Embrace the new generation." Tom, what are you trying to say? Entitled mother, the whole thing about trains can't stop on a dime is an old wives' tale. Admit it. You don't stop because you enjoy crashing into cars. Tom, what? No, we don't stop because we can't stop, the wait dash. Entitled mother, I've heard it all before, and I'm tired of being lied to. Tom, okay, well, it's not a lie. Besides, a crash like this creates a huge inconvenience for our schedule, and we have to try to work around this. We don't do it for fun. What do you mean by embracing the new generation? Entitled mother, I've tried to stop so many trains time and time before because my boy wants to be able to blow the horn and see what the inside looks like. He wants to be a train driver when he grows up too. You guys are so lazy you just wave. Too selfish to let the new generation be excited to be a train drivers. You guys are so selfish. Tom, ma'am, if we could we would. I have wanted to let a kid be able to come inside the cab for so long, but you must understand that everyone is on a tight schedule. Stopping can put a lot of people in danger because if we aren't in a siding at a specific time, it can delay schedules and trains can accidentally be let onto the line you're on and can cause a head-on collision. Entitled mother, OH, shut up. You guys aren't on a tight schedule. I've been waiting here almost all day, and it took forever to see a train. We got so bored and we needed to find things to do. You know how many people I had to tell off? I got so many questions about why I was there. I said I was just putting coins on the track. Each time someone came by I had to look busy. We put a lot of coins on there. Oh. I need to check them and go see how they turned out. Tom's and Bill's faces grew red with anger. Tom, you did what? Entitled mother, me and my son put coins on the track. Is there a problem? Tom, how many? Entitled mother, I lost count, we put so many on. Tom was furious because he realized why he went into the unexpected wheel slip. There were so many coins and he was traveling so fast that the train lost traction and they went into the wheel slip that put many in danger. Tom screamed and yelled at the woman and asked how could she be so stupid. Tom told the officers what had happened and she was charged for trespassing, and she committed a felony by making her car get hit on purpose. So Karen had a lot of bills to pay and spent just a small time in the slammer, and her entitled kid didn't get what he wanted. Everybody was okay, but man, this story when Tom told my family made us drop our jaws, and I hope it did the same for you. That's it for this video. Like and subscribe for more.